Welcome to webmonks and this short tutorial on how to load SASS globally in VueJS Apps. To follow this tutorial you'll need to have some knowledge of JavaScript, working experience with VueJS projects, and understand how to add packages using the Node Package Manager (npm). In the world of CSS, we can find plenty of great pre- and post processes that help us write more meaningful CSS. Among the most popular are Sass, Less, and Post CSS. But Sass seems to still be the most popular solution to pre-process our CSS, and that's no surprise since it's fully featured and extends the CSS language with an easy-to-understand syntax. There are two different syntaxes supported by Sass, the Sass syntax, and the scss syntax. Each one can load the other, so it's up to you and your team which one to choose. The scss syntax uses the file extension .scss. And with a few small exceptions, scss is a superset of CSS, which means essentially all valid CSS is valid scss as well. Because of this similarity, scss is the easiest syntax from the two to get used to and also the most popular. In Vue.js, adding preprocesses is simple, thanks to the Vue Loader. The Vue Loader is a loader for Webpack that allows you to author Vue components in a format called single-file components. In Webpack, all pre-processes need to be applied with a corresponding loader. Vue Loader allows you to use other Webpack loaders to process a part of a Vue component. It will automatically infer the proper loaders to use based on the lang attribute of a language block and the rules in your Webpack config. So, for example, to compile our style tag with Sass, or scss, we need to install the Sass loader and Node SASS by running this command. This will allow us to write scss inside our style tags by simply setting the lang attribute to scss. But as a project grows, we start putting our Sass variables, mixins, and functions in dedicated files, and then we import them by using the @import rule. So far, this works perfectly, but we need to be importing our scss files into every component where we want to use a variable, mixin, or a function. This becomes a very repetitive task, and most Vue.js projects end up importing these files all across components. So what can we do to solve this issue? Well, what we want to do is load our main scss files globally, especially for variables, mixins, and functions. For this section, we are assuming that you have a project created with the latest Vue CLI, using the default configuration. If you don't have it, you can create it by installing the Vue CLI and running the create command. At the moment of this recording, the latest Vue CLI requires Node.js version 8.9 or above, but Vue.js recommends to use version 8.11 or above. You can manage multiple versions of Node on the same machine with NVM or NVM Windows. Once we are all set and with a Vue.js project running, let's start by installing the required Sass dependencies. To modify the configuration of a Vue.js project, Vue CLI allows us to add a vue.config.js file at the root of the project. This file exports an object with several configuration options. Among these configuration options, we have the CSS option, which includes a loader options property, which we can use to change the internal configuration of the Vue loader. Probably you didn't know this, but we can declare any global CSS processed files using the prepend data property inside the processor type of our choice. In our case, scss. Note the symbol. When using Vue CLI, the symbol is an alias pointing to the src directory. And that's all. Now all the code inside the files we declared inside the SARS property, inside the loader options property, inside the CSS property in our vue.config.js file, will be available in the global scope of our project. We're not going to dive deeper on Webpack configuration, since it's out of the scope of this tutorial, but I'll add a link in the description of this video to the GitHub repo, where all the code we went through is publicly available for you to download. Make sure that the files that you import in the prepend data property contain only scss code that doesn't get rendered, such as variables, mixins, and functions. Otherwise, that code will end up repeated for each component in the final processed CSS file. Since this tutorial, or the repo, could have some mistakes, spelling errors, and things like that. If you spot any, we would appreciate it if you could open a pull request, file an issue on the repo, or leave a comment below. Needless to say, if this tutorial helped you, or you think it can help someone, please like it, and share it. And if you like what we do here at webmonks, don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned.